power, and as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country. Hanging on, but he appears to still control the military. You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And so if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country. Hanging on, but he appears to still control the military. You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And so if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country. Hanging on, but he appears to still control the military. You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And so if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country.
What countries have a Second Amendment?
According to Business Insider, certainly, many countries are awash with guns. Among the nations with the most firearms are Serbia, Yemen, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia. There are only 3 countries, however, that have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms: Mexico, Guatemala, and the United States. Here's why.
So, I'm looking at what's going on in the news with Venezuela and whatnot, and the disarming of the people. Then it had me interested in seeing how many countries outside of America had actually the ability to protect themselves, who have actual legal legislation that, defend and protect their God-given right to bear arms. Those Second Amendments don't give you the right to. Your Creator does, but that legislation protects it. And I thought about how, the uniqueness of the ADOS, black man and woman, how we have a right that other diaspora don't have. Like, only 2 other countries outside of America, Guatemala and Mexico, I'll probably put the clip before this, have that right. 6 other countries had it at one point, but they amended it and took it away. But it just makes you think about the beauty of that. Because you hear a lot of people talking about going back to Africa and this and that and other places and whatnot. And not only do they not have a First Amendment right in those countries, they damn sure don't have Second Amendment rights. We're all tripping over Facebook, getting rid of folks and whatnot, which that's not a freedom of speech issue. It's a censorship issue. But they're a private company and have the right to do what they want to do with their stuff. But imagine being in a country that could do that to you. Imagine being in a government where they can just silence you, take you off the air because they don't like what you said. I mean, that's a uniqueness of our country. And it's just something to ponder about, When I hear folks talking about going places they don't have those freedoms, I'm like, you go. I'm good. I like being able to criticize and critique my government. I love being able to take up arms to defend my property and my persons. Something to think about. I don't think that this uniqueness is talked about enough or expressed enough. Many of our black intellectuals and people who represent us on television, they typically lean left and they support whatever policies the liberals propose. And that even means gun control and censorship, by the way, because really these PC folks, they really want to silence people and don't let them speak. But as we see now, folks is in defense of Farrakhan, his right to speak. But many of the same people don't think those other folks have the right to speak. Many of those other folks are happy. Many black people are happy when other folks get censored or get kicked off or, removed. But now somebody you like, you respect, they're in that same boat, and now we feel some type of way. I remember Boy saying you can't go in someone else's houses and move around the furniture, but yet he's hopped all over the Farrakhan thing in defense of him. But I'm like, you've already said you can't go in someone's house and remove around their furniture. And Facebook is Zuckerberg's house. It's interesting too seeing, Google, Facebook, all these, liberal spaces, they all admit that. Even the dude on Twitter said, yeah, we know that most of my employees lean left and have that bias or whatever, but Twitter was, they're subjective in who they choose to block and not block. They let terrorists have pages and whatnot, but then they block people who are more right wing in America. It's like, definitely all slippery slopes. But when you think about those first two amendments and how we have access to them, when again, our other diaspora, they don't have that ability. And folks talking about leaving this place to go to those places as if those governments are better, or I don't know. That's just my quick thoughts. We definitely need to emphasize more on the uniqueness of the ADOS black man and black woman and our rights and them first two amendments. Only 3 countries in the world have a right to bear arms.
Here's a summary from Business Insider. Only 3 countries in the world protect the right to bear arms in their constitutions. Only 3 countries in the world currently have a constitutional right to own a gun: the US, Mexico, and Guatemala. 6 other countries used to have a constitutional right to bear arms, but they've since repealed those laws, and more.
You think black people in America have a right that none of the other diaspora have? Think about that.